Okay.
live action.
I'm just trying to get situated. All right. All right, all right, all right.
The light not plugged in.
What light's not plugged in? Yeah, I don't want
I
it
don't
plugged
know.
in. No. I'm going to give people. I'm glad that kennel's out now that it's spring.
Let me take, she's crying.
Yeah.
Let me get her.
All right. Hello, Kiana. Kiana Milana. Hi, pretty girl. How you doing? All right.
I get her in a couple minutes, right?
All right. I'm going to get rolling here, and anybody that wants to rewatch it can, or maybe, I don't know.
Give me 2 minutes. Or I can get the door shut and she's in.
All right. Well, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get rolling. Welcome to Bella Vista English Mastiffs. And if you have not subscribed and hit that notification button, please do so that you don't miss anything. We're about to be breeding Lily, Rain, and Faith. We may try Kiana in May, and some of the videos of that time and puppies and everything may be for members only. I'm just not sure how it's going to work, but at any rate, please hit that subscribe button and the notification button. In this video, please feel free to comment or ask questions or just anything you feel like. So, as I said, welcome to Bella Vista English Mastiffs. Today we're going to be discussing something that really nobody wants to talk about. Breeders don't want to discuss it, and sometimes, as pet owners, we're afraid to share part of our journey. Now, this discussion is going to be on pet grief. Pet grief. Breeders don't want to talk about it. A lot of times vets don't want to talk about it. It is the inevitable with life. Every living thing dies. It's just a fact. None of us are getting out of here alive. Does this mean we should not live and love and have children and have pets? Of course not. But these things are a fact of life. And so pet grief is something that we all should be discussing. It's not necessarily a bad thing. But over the last little while, I've been getting a lot of calls. And as you can imagine, as a dog breeder, 60% of the calls that I get, people have already had a Mastiff and have possibly lost one or another breed, and they're just starting to navigate life without that pet. And, I know from experience, I always try and be compassionate because I myself have navigated that. So, just to begin, a lot of you guys know that I lost my beloved big brindle Gage, Bella Vista Gage, on September 29th. This is now March. I am just now able to say his name without getting extremely choked up. And so Gage was Del Fracasso from the Del Fracasso lines and Duranx de Bon. Ferdinando Del Fracasso and Fenrir Duranx de Bon. And not only do you get that incredible, massive body type and correct physique, but you get that unparalleled temperament, childlike, but yet very mature temperament that your children and grandchildren can roll around the floor with, but yet they will guard your home. I always knew from the time Gage was about 6-7 months old that I was his person. And I can't even explain when he came home what I felt like. Everybody fell in love with him. He had a way of looking at you with his doe-like eyes, and he just made you want to snuggle him and kiss him. And he just really, from the time he was born, was such a pleasant puppy. He was easy to train, super, super versatile with my small grandchildren, in public, anywhere, at the vet. Gage was always a perfect gentleman. So today I'm going to use Gage as my example. And for those of you that have contacted me to share your beautiful stories about having your Mastiff and in the end losing them for one reason or another, we've done a lot of laughing and crying together. And I've gained some lifelong friends through this process and through this journey of breeding Mastiffs. You really get very close to each person that shares their story with you. And as a breeder, I take that very seriously. I take the confidence you put in me very seriously. We all do here at Bella Vista. So, pet grief. Let's just sit back for a little while, relax, and just enjoy each other's company. I'm going to put my glasses on because these 59-year-old eyes are not exactly perfect anymore. So just know this podcast is coming from a profound amount of respect and love for this majestic breed. And most recently for me was my loss of Gage. Everybody that knew me knew Gage. We were synonymous. I took him everywhere. I did everything with him. My grandbabies were born, and Gage was the kindest, most gentle, huge dog you ever saw. And I know that, like I said last week, some people viewing this YouTube channel from around the world may never be able to own an English Mastiff, and some of them are sitting in hospitals and just so many places in their life that they are unable to own a Mastiff. And so coming on the Facebook page, our Facebook page, Bella Vista English Mastiffs, or subscribing to this YouTube channel, they are able to share that and laugh and enjoy the Mastiff without necessarily owning one. I had to take notes because some of the questions and some of the things that people shared with me, I'm okay to repeat. And I had to actually make a list and write a few paragraphs about the things we spoke about so that I don't forget. And I don't want to jump all around. So if you see me reading from my little script here, just know I just didn't want to forget everybody. So just to begin, I've received a lot of calls over the many years that I've been breeding dogs from people that have lost a pet and are still grieving. They feel so many emotions flooding them. They feel so many emotions flooding them, and they know the pain that feels so immense for this loss that they have experienced. It's emptiness. When you share your life with this huge presence of a dog, and then abruptly that presence is gone, it is a profound amount of emptiness. For me, I'm just now starting to see the world without my best friend in it, Gage. Gage was there through my happiness and the most amazing times with my children and my grandchildren. He was also there when I lost family members I never thought I would lose, and when I had cancer. And so they're quiet, they're calm, they're cool, they're collected, and I just can't even explain the joy that this breed has brought to my life. So I know the pain is immense, and I know you feel an emptiness. I too feel that emptiness. Somehow in that emptiness, I also feel guilt for so many reasons. Maybe just because I didn't see it coming. I think whenever we lose a loved one, a family member, or a pet, we replay the incident a million times in our mind, going over and over all the things that occurred. And I think we all share that. Could I have done things differently? Did I do absolutely everything? I know that the injury that occurred here on September, the couple of days before September 29th, I threw every bit of my knowledge and 30, 40 years of experience in the animal medical world. And I want to preface this by saying I am not a licensed vet. I am not even a licensed vet tech. I just have most of my 59 years in the field with horses and dogs and pretty much every other kind of animal. And I think we learn. We have on-hands experience. So just because you don't carry a certificate doesn't mean anything. Some of us are smarter than vets. Not saying I am. I'm saying we can all teach each other something. And vets do not know everything. That is what I am going to say. And a certificate doesn't mean you're a genius. I know some vets that I wouldn't give you 5 cents for. Okay? And they know who they are. But guilt for maybe not seeing it coming, for, like I said, could we have done something differently? Did I not maybe do every single thing that I could have done? Did I exhaust every effort? The incident that happened here, Gage was in the wrong place at the wrong time. The majority of the other dogs were horsing around. They were running back and forth through the great room. I was cleaning the fireplace. Gage was sitting about 3 feet behind me, sitting like this, looking at me. The fireplace is there. So he was sitting sort of broadside. The dogs were out on the deck running around. It was happy. I mean, it was a happy thing. And I was shining the fireplace, the mantle. And Gage, like I said, was sitting behind me. And the dogs didn't see him. And when they came, I had removed the rugs because I was cleaning. And when they came into the great room, they hit him broadside. And there was about 700 pounds of dog fell down on Gage. And he was at the bottom of the pile. He never made a sound. It stunned everybody in the room. And it knocked the wind out of all the dogs. I mean, it wasn't just one of them. They were all shocked that they hit Gage. And at the last of it, his heart was bruised. And I'm going to stop right there because I don't want to get sidetracked. And I can feel the emotion coming up. And so I really need to get this message across. And so, here today, I just want to address this subject that no one seems to want to talk about. And we all will encounter it at some point in our lives. It doesn't mean don't get married and have children when we know that people can die. It does not mean don't have a pet. The joy that this breed brings, the joy that Gage gave out so freely, the unconditional love that I got from him as someone that has been pretty wounded most of my life. I've already felt so much loss from family members that I never thought I would lose. And again, I have to stop right there because I don't want that to be a trauma dump on my viewers. I just want you to know that I can relate and that I talk from experience. And I have so many clients that I've become so close with, and they've all called me because they had just lost their own beloved best friend. And from very early on, we do a lot of crying. And I tell them, I'm here when you're ready. And then I think because they know I come from a place of compassion and transparency, they come back. And I'm able to not only help guide them in their journey for the next love that they will have, but I'm able to share my own experiences, and then they get to meet other people through our beautiful dog page, and they get to realize they're not alone. We are all in this together. And it's all different nationalities and religions and political views and a lot of different strong personalities, but we all come together for this one beautiful, majestic breed, the Mastiff. In our case, the English Mastiff. So, you know now, I just lost my Gage. For me, I guess the hardest parts were learning to navigate my world without him. I just felt such a profound emptiness and loss. I am so grateful for the people that came around me at that time. Friends of ours, Rosemary and Gordon, stepped right in. There's a place back on the farm, up on a knoll, like a small hill. And Rosemary's husband, Gordon, came for 3 or 4 nights after a long day's work and dug what turned out to be a crypt. It was supposed to be a grave, but it turned into a crypt because that hill is full of ledge. But needless to say, our friends came every day, and Gordon dug a 5 or 6 foot long, 4 foot wide crypt in the ledge of that hill. And as the days followed, people were coming up to me in public. Either they know me locally or they know our YouTube channel and see us on YouTube. And I think Gage became everyone's dog. He was just loved in every country. I received calls from Italy and Denmark and England, all over the United States. The immense grief that everybody felt that Gage's life ended at 7, it was tragic. And without all of you that came alongside me and embraced me, and sometimes right in the middle of a store would hug me and cry with me, it just meant so very, very much. And I want to pass that on. I want to come alongside you. Our pets bring so much joy and love, unconditional love in this imperfect world. I'm like the most imperfect person that I know, but my dogs love me anyway. It doesn't matter if I look good or I don't look good, if I have makeup on or I don't, if I'm dressed great or not. They don't care. They just love us, right? In all of our imperfections. And they love us like we're the greatest thing on the planet. And so I'm coming to terms with what the world looks like without Gage in it. As some of you are now navigating your world without your best friend in it. I have just ran the scenario over in my head 1,000 times since September 29th, 2024. And as a dog breeder for ultimately roughly 30 years, I have a fairly big degree in psychology, and I can tell you, it didn't help. It just didn't help. I think people don't like to talk about grief and loss. And would you believe that in the days that followed Gage's passing, I had someone that I thought was very, very, very close to me call me about 10 days later, and I still sounded like I was stuck. And this person said to me, wow, so it's like almost 2 weeks, and I cannot believe you are still this messed up over a dog. Like it's not a person. And if that person is watching, I realize not only are you incapable of loving a pet, more than likely you're not really capable of loving a human. And I sure as heck now know you really never loved me or knew me. And so it chipped away a chunk of how I feel about that person. And I can tell you, over my lifetime, I was extremely close to that person. If you have not loved a pet, you're missing out. Even though we know your spouse will die, your friends die, dogs die, you don't want to miss the journey. You don't want to miss out on all that love and all the memories you will make. And nobody should tell you that 2 weeks is too long to grieve. For goodness sake, You grieve until you feel that you can move on. And don't move on before you have really felt this and let it, you'll cry. You will think about a million different scenarios of how it could have played out. But at the end of the day, it was that animal's time, and we can hold them so dear forever. I'm going to ask Chris, can you get me the things in the front room that were given to us when Gage passed? The tumbler and the mug and the bench? Let me tell you, when we dug that grave down the back, when Gordon dug it, people came forward donating marble, rock, the marble that you put in flower beds. And I'm going to show you right now a few of the gifts that I received that mean so very, very much. I learned that even after studying psychology for probably 20 years and having a pretty big degree, it went out the window when it was my own dog. Well, I came across something last week that said, here's a thought. The dog you love today was sent to you by the dog you loved yesterday. I'm going to stop here for a moment, and I'm going to share something profoundly personal that I may have only told one or two people. The 3 days around when Gage got injured, and if you look at even the 4 o'clock in the morning video of the day he passed, he literally was sitting up like nothing happened. He had walked out on the deck off in the backyard, and I was just so elated that I honestly thought he was going to survive. But I'm going to share something with you that happened to me during the moments leading up to Gage's passing. And if this has never happened to you and you don't understand it, that's okay. But just know if it did happen to you, it's very real. And you should recognize it and validate it and acknowledge it and embrace it. So Gage was laying here in the sun porch on a quilt, and I laid with him on most days. I knew enough, rub his legs, rub his arms, give him a good massage, keep them extremities moving. I fed him at one point by hand because he was so sad. And at one point I thought, boy, you're really milking this. You're a 257-pound dog. Surely you're going to survive this, right? He was just my rock. So I had him on quilts in the sun porch. And like I said, at 4 o'clock in the morning, I noticed he was sitting up. He was looking like my Gage that you see all over YouTube. And I got alongside him and I said, well, sir, you're gonna come out of this. I said, just know breeding season's coming up. You really don't want Patton to get all your girls, right? Can I have that? I'm going to show you something that I think has been very helpful. A local company in the next town over made me a coffee cup. Let me see if I can get this. I hope the glare isn't too bad. Can you see that? And that's a good size coffee cup, right? They also made me a tumbler with Gage's name, with his picture, and they superimposed him as a baby. Hope you're probably not seeing that as perfect as it is. And then good friends of ours sent me a stone for his grave with his picture that reads, Gage, September 6th, 2017. Those we love, that was the date he was born, those we love don't go away. They walk beside us every day. Unseen, unheard, but always near. Still loved, still missed, and always dear. That's what I hold on to every day. I still feel like there's a huge dent in my heart, a huge dent in my world and how I understand it and navigate it, because he's been there for so many years. But he was on the blanket in the sun porch. As I said, at 4 o'clock in the morning, he was fine, sat up, and I even joked with him and said, I knew you were going to come out of it. It's almost breeding season. You certainly don't want Patton to be the daddy of all the puppies. Okay, I said, Chris, she's trying to go through to the whelping room. And he looked at me, and I think he sort of chuckled with me, possibly. I like to think he did. And then he came over here and he laid on the blanket. He walked himself. He was fine. Now, remember, as a dog breeder and somebody with a ton of medical experience, the things I would be looking for is trauma. Trauma would make his temperature increase, right? So his temperature would have been elevated if trauma was what was happening here. There was no temperature. He peed normal. There was no blood in the urine. He actually pooped normal. I was out there with a glove going through his poop. There was no blood in the poop. I ultrasounded him. I did put him on something for pain because I knew that that was an immense amount of weight that had fallen on him, and he did look a little stunned. So I did put him on some things that I have here, including gabapentin for pain. And he really didn't look like he was in pain, to be honest with you. He still hugged me back and licked my face and all those things. But on September 29th, he was laying on the blanket. As I said, at 4 o'clock in the morning, I had joked with him about breeding season, and he almost seemed to chuckle back with me and like he understood what I meant. And he was laying on the quilt, and I got down on my forearms, and I crawled over because I was so happy about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I kind of crawled over to him on my hands and knees, and I kissed his face 100 times like you see me doing on a lot of the YouTube videos. I kissed that face 100 times, and I got a wave of sadness, and I was crying, and when I got down to him, I realized he was crying too. And one little thing flashed in my brain. Oh, God. No, 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 no. No. I just saw a little twinge. I went from elated to realizing he was crying for me. He had seen me through so much pain in my life, cancer and my treatments and surgery, and family members being here and then gone, my grandchildren being here and then not seeing them anymore. When I got down to his face, I realized that it was soaking wet. I backed up away for 1 second to see, am I really seeing this? I went out to the door and I screamed for Chris, can you come? Can you come right now? He was out with the other dogs. I came back in and I got on my hands and knees again, and I got down to his face and I said, Gage, look at me. Do you have any idea how much I love you? I'm sorry. I just held his face in my hands and I said, do you have any idea how much I love you? You are my best friend. I am asking you, please don't leave me. I don't even know what life looks like without you. And he looked back at me like he understood. And when I leaned up, I thought, am I imagining this? Something is happening here. And I didn't know quite what was happening, but I noticed that he kept sort of moving his head to keep my eye contact. And I went down, I kissed his face again. When I picked my head up, he was like this, trying to follow my eyes. He was trying to lock eyes with me. He took three quick breaths and just stopped breathing. And as that very second happened, Lily and Rain were sitting on either side of me, his daughters. As God is my witness, I felt a humming, like a vortex feeling hit my chest so hard. It just stunned me, and I noticed that Rain to my right and Lily to my left felt it too. I believe Gage's spirit, as he left his body, his spirit came to us. Now, if you don't believe that, that's cool. That's fine. I know what I felt. I am a very rational person with a huge psychology degree. And you know what they don't teach you in college? We're all made up of energy. We love with such a force. And that is all energy. And I know that Gage chose me every day of his life. And somehow the universe and God knew that I needed him. And I know what I felt that day. And if you have lost your pet and you feel that feeling, then I believe that your pet has not left you. And I believe the dog that we love today, was sent to us by the dog we loved yesterday. And I will always love Gage, and you will always love yours. It is okay. Nobody has a right to tell you how long grief takes. I did a little research on this subject. So what I speak to you is not just coming from emotion. So if you would just sit tight with me, I want to tell you the facts about owning a pet. Okay? Just give me a minute. As I said, I just believe we are all made up of energy, and I believe our pets love us just as much as we love them. I tell my clients sometimes, your dog is the only thing on the planet that loves you more than you love yourself. Right? We feed them. We make sure they have clean water, blankets to lay on. But what they have to give us is not materialistic. They give us unconditional love. They give us friendship. They give us protection. They give us kindness. It doesn't matter what you look like. If you're sitting in a wheelchair or you are a millionaire, they don't care. They just love how you love them. It doesn't matter if you live in a million. I have some of my pets or my puppies went into homes, $3-4 million homes. Some of my pets are in everyday homes like ours. It doesn't matter. A dog gives so much, but asks so little in return. And again, I had someone tell me they couldn't believe after 2 weeks that I was still mourning. I still can't get over that one. Ultimately, I had to kind of walk away from that relationship because as I was so deeply hurt by her words, that turned out to not be the last time that she hurt me. I actually called her one day when I was so sad about not seeing my kids and my grandchildren, and she told me that she couldn't take the negativity. When I hang up, I got to go take an Ativan, she said. I just can't deal with this negativity. Wow. That's not love. That is not friendship. That is not family. We meet people where they are. We all have bad days. Someday you may need me. Someday I may need you. But when you are supposed to love somebody, that is not the thing to say. I was so hurt, and I ultimately had to end that. And I feel terrible, but if you don't love me enough to listen when I'm grieving over my pet or or my not seeing my grandchildren, what can I give you that would ever fix that? What could we ever be to each other that could fix that? Nothing. I am the ride or die. I am there for everybody in my life that I love. I don't love easy. I don't trust easy. But if I am your friend, your breeder, your partner in something, you call me and you need me, I'm bringing the shovel. I have a couple of friends that joke like that about me, that's my personality, I am just so loyal, but I just really am. And it's all I really understand. It's my language of love is loyalty, and I expect that back from the people that I love. And so many thousands of people gave such an outpouring of respect and honor to Gage. I was getting hundreds, probably thousands of messages from all around the world. My page, the Facebook page, there's thousands of people from all over the world. The YouTube channel reaches the United Emirates and Egypt, the UK, Denmark, Sweden, Rome, England, and I got messages from, I guess, probably 1,000 people so saddened by Gage's loss. And I remember, I have all them messages. And to me, that's what knits us all together. So losing a pet, for me, is like losing a family member, as the emotional bond and unconditional love shared with them can be profound, leading to a similar sense of grief and loss if it was a family member. A good way to honor your pet is to memorialize them with maybe a coffee mug or a water tumbler. And I have the company in the next town over that does these. And they accept Venmo or PayPal, and I'm not tooting their horn, but when I have puppies born, I'm going to put, they have a choice of a coffee cup or a tumbler, or if it's a husband and wife, I'll do 2 of each. I mean, one, whatever. You know what I mean? With your puppy picture on it. Or if you're getting a puppy from me, what if we put a picture of the dog that you lost on it? So that you feel like your heart is going to go on. You can accept another puppy because we know the puppy we love today is sent to us by the dog we loved yesterday. What if you choose a picture of the pet that you lost instead of the puppy? Or we put the pet you lost on one side and we get them to put a picture of your puppy on the other. We can do that. And they're not very expensive. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Well, try my advice. I keep a diary now. I try to write my thoughts and emotions down. And I've even made a photo collage. I have a small bench that someone made for me right there, Scott and Leona Bryant. And they also made me something for my rearview mirror with Gage's name and some beautiful beads and a footprint. So every time I get in my truck, I take Gage with me. Chris promised me at some point I could have a necklace made with his name. I don't need big fancy diamonds, but I would like to have Gage's name on a chain. So let's talk about the psychology of owning a pet. Did you know, here comes my psychology degree, did you know that loving a pet, a dog, a cat, a horse, a bird, it triggers the release of neurochemicals like oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin, which are associated with feelings of bonding, reward, connection, happiness, and ultimately promoting relaxation and reducing stress. The neurochemical changes with oxytocin, this happens when we have babies. I'm also learning that the cells in a baby's body that come into they join the cells of the mother. It's why a mother can never forget her children. It's why a grandmother, or a nana in my case, can never forget or separate themselves from their grandbabies, because the cells in their body are the cells going through my body, and it's just not possible to separate that. So oxytocin, this hormone often called the love hormone or cuddle chemical, is released when you pat or snuggle your pet. This is a healing chemical for your brain. I love you, sweetheart. Wear your seatbelt. Oxytocin is a healing chemical for your brain. It's released when you give birth. It heals the body from that immense trauma of giving birth. We don't remember it 5 minutes later. The next chemical that gets released from loving a pet is dopamine. This neurotransmitter of dopamine is associated with reward and pleasure, and it is released during interaction with our pets. It boosts motivation and energy and focus. Studies have also shown that greater bonds with their pets were associated with higher brain activity in the lateral parietal cortex. Okay? Your bond with your pet, whether it's a dog, a cat, or a horse, affects the higher brain activity in the lateral parietal cortex and the pecunus regions of the DMN regions of the brain. These regions slow the rate of cognitive decline. The prefrontal brain activity in healthy individuals is increased with a rise in interactional closeness with a dog. There's a physiology to this, okay? Serotonin, this neurotransmitter, helps regulate mood and can contribute to a sense of well-being and happiness. Cortisol, interacting with pets, can also lower the levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, leading to a calmer state of being. Snuggling your pet releases endorphins. These natural pain relievers and mood boosters are released during our interaction with our pets, further contributing to our feelings of well-being. Touch is so profound. When you just sometimes put your hand on another person, a grandparent, an older person, they go for a long time sometimes without touch. Some of us, like myself, I lost my parents at a very, very young age, and a brother, and it was an immense loss. Chris's parents lived into their 80s. His mother lived to be 96, God bless her. And during them end days, I made sure I went. She was an old Italian, so I wanted to make sure I cleaned her up and I kept her hair brushed. And I rubbed her shoulders and I told her what a great mother she was and how thankful I was for what an amazing, for what an amazing nana she was to Kira, our daughter. And I shared so many good memories with her. And I thanked her. And and I actually videotaped the last 4 days so that Chris, he really didn't want to see her the last, during the time when they were giving her a lot of medications. It bothered him so much, but he went in the evening when I would prepare her and make sure that she was presentable for him and everything looked right, and then Chris could go in and hold her hand and thank her and tell her how beautiful, thankful he was that she was such a good mother. So cortisol, where are we? Endorphins, these natural pain relievers are mood boosters and they are released during our interaction with our pets, further contributing to our feelings of well-being. The cognitive and emotional benefits to owning a pet is improved mood, and the positive neurochemical changes in our brain and our physiology contribute to a more positive and happier mood and sense of well-being. All of this contributes to our increased social connection. Pets can provide companionship and a sense of belonging and being needed, which can be particularly important for individuals who may feel lonely or isolated. Boy, the whole world since COVID really has taken a big hit. I find that people I'm interacting with and the phone calls I'm getting, it's shocking how many people are living alone. And it's not just having one of my puppies would be such a beautiful luxury, but you know that the Mastiff is so calm, cool, and collected and safe and easily trainable, but yet protective. It's one of, in my opinion, the leading breeds for our injured military, our military members that come home different than they went. Our law enforcement, after so many years in the departments, the trauma that they see and that they experience, the injuries they incur, this is one of the leading breeds to have a new partner, a four-legged partner that will give you unconditional love, but yet will be by your side. For children, I have pups that are now adults in homes of children that have traumatic brain injury, to low-functioning autistic children and children that have autism spectrum disorder. This is an amazing breed for individuals with PTSD and complex PTSD. And I believe anything you can have today that increases your well-being and emotional well-being and the feeling of being needed and not being isolated cannot be a bad thing. And so as I and Rain and Lily navigate this world without their amazing father, Gage, sometimes I look at them and out of the corner of my eye, I swear I see him. I was telling one of my clients the other day, I had taken a shower and was in my room getting changed, and as I walked out of my bedroom, I swore it was Gage sitting right in front of me. That the way the lighting is in the great room and through the kitchen, I realized within a few minutes it was Lily. But when Lily is in a certain lighting, she really looks just like her father. And with Rain's head will grow. I'm seeing Gage's eyes and his silly personality and his whole loving demeanor in Rain. And so I really, really know that this breed, having and sharing your life with one of these puppies will reduce loneliness. It may give you a sense of purpose and companionship and maybe a little physical activity. Well, guys, I just wanted to share this with you. I know it's one of them subjects that people just don't want to talk about, But I want you to know you are not alone. And if you've met me and you've called me, I can tell you that if we become, where I'm your breeder and you become a client and you become part of this Bella Vista English Mastiffs family, I am here for you and I will help you get through that. I may not know everything, and I definitely am not eloquent, and I'm actually a little socially awkward. Sometimes I misspeak. But I know my heart is in the right place, and I just want to make your experience with having your new love or an addition to your heart as smooth as possible. Just know the dog you loved yesterday and will continue to love may be bringing you a new puppy in your life. And it is okay. And if you are not ready, it is okay. Everything is just okay. It really is. Nobody can tell you how long you should grieve and whether you cry every day or you feel that it's time that you can love and move on. I have to get up every day, and we get up every day knowing our other dogs need us. We know we're Gage passed. I don't even allow anybody to walk on that spot. Same thing with the front lawn. I want to tell you that not only did Gordon and Rose come and build Gage a crypt up on the hill at the back of the farm, but a friend of mine, Diane, not going to say her last name, her son Ross came to help Chris lift Gage that day. I wanted to make sure that even though they were using a tarp to pick him up, I wanted to make sure that Chris's mother, my mother-in-law's throw blanket with the Lord's Prayer, with the Our Father on it, was laid on him. Ross came, lifted Gage up into the back of my Tahoe, and as he was going down to the back of the farm, I said to him, Ross, Gage was not only my best friend, like y'all know, because actually Ross and his brothers, if you look back at the videos back in 2019 and 20 when we were in the parade, I knew Diane then, and her sons took pictures of us in the parade. If you're on the Facebook page, you may be able to go all the way back. Ross and Mike took pictures that day from Diane's truck. They followed us through the parade, 4th of July parade. But I said, Ross, Gage was not only my best friend, but my protector. When you put him there on the hill, can you make sure his face, his legs are facing the field, and his face and his nose are facing the driveway? Not the other way around. Gage would need to know that he's watching that driveway. Now that sounds silly. It sounds so silly. But Ross did that for me with so much thoughtfulness and gentleness with Gage. And he did that. And when he got down there, I hadn't told Chris that yet. And Ross said, wait 1 second, we have to make sure Gage's legs are facing the field and his nose is facing the driveway. Someday when we build down back, I'll be able to look from the house onto that hill. Maybe we'll put a little chapel there. And now there's a beautiful grave there that people donated, beautiful white marble gravel, and he has beautiful solar lights and flowers around him. And it's a place I can go and sit on that hill so that he knows your dog may be buried in your yard, by a tree, by a bush. You may have chosen to have him cremated. It doesn't matter. He's still with you. Just don't stop loving. Share your heart. It's okay. Your dog loved you so much he wouldn't want you to still cry and suffer. We are hardwired to connect. Our pets are like family. And I think, if you really think about this, I even talked to people yesterday from Massachusetts. They are heartbroken over just losing their Mastiff. And yet they called me to trust me on their new journey. And she said, I'm contacting you because I know you would understand. And I just am not sure I'm ready right this second, but I know that you understand. And when I am ready, we are coming and we want our next puppy from you. And so my message to those people and all the people that have contacted us lately is join our Facebook page, Bella Vista English Mastiffs. You are not alone. We have all gone through what you've gone through. We've raised them as puppies. And then, the Mastiff really lives somewhere between 9 and 12 years. They've lived to be 14. It all depends. There's a lot of factors. And so, but you have to love again when the time is right. I am so honored that you guys trust me and that you share all of your memories with me. I have so many people that have trusted me on their journey, like Barbara, my new good friend. I met her probably, I think, 2 years ago when she called me upon the loss of her Mastiff. Someday Barbara will have a puppy from me, right? And Jody, when she called me 2 years ago, she was crying so hard, she hardly could breathe. And I walked around, I was walking, and I stopped and I cried with her. I get it. I just get it. And a lot of our other clients. So just know you're not alone. You are in the right place, whether it's now, you're ready maybe in May for a puppy, or a year from now, or 2 years from now. We're here. We're here. We're going to take this road trip with you. We are going to set you up for success. We are going to put the best, healthiest, amazing, big, beautiful, lovable puppy in your arms. And I think if you give it a chance, you will start to see little characteristics in your beloved pet, maybe in your new puppy, because I believe our pets don't want us to be sad. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close this video, let you guys carry on your Sunday. I'm so glad you allowed me to come into your life and to share my hopes and my dreams, my loves, and you have put trust in me. And the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. So with that, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do, so that this old girl knows that I'm on the right track and that you are enjoying the content. If and when a million years from now it ever did get monetized, 100% of the proceeds will be going to St. Jude's Children's Hospital for children's cancer research, and Tunnel to Towers, which works hand in hand with the Wounded Warrior Project, for homes for our injured military. Okay? Our phone number here at Bella Vista English Mastiffs is 207-694-1200. You have a blessed day. Thank you.